Good afternoon, and we are from Group 4, and we're here to report about recycling paper. Our code for this is, waste it once, pay for it twice. What does this mean? This means that we will reap the consequence if we don't recycle things. And now, our advocacy is about recycling paper. The question is now, why recycle paper? Paper recycling is the process of making paper to the new material with the aim of preventing any waste that can be used for something useful. Reduce the use of raw materials, reduce energy use, reduce pollution, land and forest destruction, and greenhouse gas emission compared to new manufacturing processes. Paper recycling is one of the solid waste management which consists of segregation of activities, gathering, processing, distribution, and manufacturing of products used. And it is the main component of the modern waste management.
Choose this topic because we tend to throw away a lot of papers when we make a mistake in writing it. For example, we are required to answer math equation, and we have to put the answer on a bond paper. We tend to throw the bond paper right away and get a new one. We just wasted the old bond paper instead of making it as a scratch paper.
What would happen if we do not recycle papers? What are the effects and disadvantages? What will happen to us? Well, that's what I'm going to tell you. Now we will talk about the effects of not recycling papers. We use papers almost every day of our lives, using our notebooks, books, papers, cartons, paper bags, everything. Now, if there was no paper recycling, we would lose 850 million trees a year. Imagine 850 million trees, that would fill up a whole forest. And if a whole forest is deforested, there are no more trees, what would happen to the living creatures there? Of course, they will all die and will also be affected because of another loss on the ecosystem. If there are no more trees, it's climate change. Climate change is a major consequence of not recycling papers and other recyclable materials. The lack of recycling creates a demand for new resources, and trees are logged to process into new papers. The removal of trees reduces the amount of carbon dioxide that is processed by plants. The trees also requires fuel to transport and process the material into new paper. The fuel burned is released into the environment as greenhouse gases that could contribute to climate change. Also, if climate change can also cause different diseases to us, different diseases or different irritations. If we recycle papers, we could save a lot of trees, probably 150 million too. And if those trees are not cut, they could reduce the climate change. We could not be this cold or that hot. That's why. Another effect is deforestation. Not recycling paper increases the amount of paper that is produced. The new paper requires logging to harvest trees and contributes to deforestation. The removal of trees changes the native landscape into an area that is no longer forest. This contributes to the stabilization of river banks and increase in agricultural land use, which causes chemicals, herbicides, and pesticides to run off into the water system. Deforestation also causes living creatures or animals living in the forest to lose their homes. If they lose their homes, they could have died, and the ecosystem is affected. We are part of the ecosystem, so if a part of the ecosystem died or removed, we will all be affected, and a lot of change will happen. Well, that's only a few defects or disadvantages of not recycling papers. There are a lot of effects of recycling papers and the disadvantages. So we benefited more, but the disadvantages of recycling papers are very big. It affects not only just one person, but the whole world is affected. So really, recycling papers is very, 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 very useful for us. We should not avoid it. We should do it. Our advocacy really helps not only a group of people in the community, but also a group of people in the world.
Benefits of recycling paper. Eliminating waste. Materials in a landfill can take a long time to break down, and the EPA says that products make up 33% of the solid waste of cities and towns. By recycling paper, you can keep it from taking up space in a landfill, It means that if we can recycle paper every day, if we can use paper in a right way, we can have enough space and uplift the space in our landfills in more efficient way. Saving trees. Recycling paper can dramatically reduce the number of trees that need to be harvested for paper products. We should save trees because trees helps us to manage every equipment, every furniture that we have to take, that we have to need every single day of our lives. Saving energy, cutting down and processing fewer trees and reducing the need of a new landfills and equipment to recycling paper saves energy. Reducing pollution. Saving energy reduces the pollution that goes into the environment. Recycling paper also reduces the forms of pollution, such as the bleach often used to dye virgin pulp. Ways to conserve paper. Use cloth napkins instead of paper varieties. Instead of using tissue for your makeup remover, if you're removing a makeup, we should use a handkerchief that we can wash it after use. That a tissue that after using it is put it in the trash, right? Save receipts from stores, libraries, and banks and use the back as shopping list. Use the back of the receipts as a shopping list or a grocery items that you want to buy. Instead of printing out online receipts, save them as a file on your computer. You can save the online receipts in a flash drive so you can save the online receipts that you have to be able to process. Use the back and front of the paper or a bond paper if you have something to write on it to save your money also. Use cloth cleaning rags instead of paper towels. Right. Use reusable dishes instead of paper plates. Instead of buying paper plates or disposable spoon and forks in a party, we can use reusable dishes. Use as little toilet paper as possible. Use scratch paper as solutions. Recycle any paper that can't be used further. In addition to all this, let us start recycling paper now, because we are also saving our planet if we all do this. We want you to recycle paper also. Not paper only, but also anything that can be recycled, like bottles as well. In this, we are not spending much money, and at the same time, saving the environment. Don't forget, refuse to reuse, it's our earth you refuse. Reduce, reuse, and recycle. Let's all recycle papers.
Ways to conserve paper. First, use cloth napkins instead of paper varieties. Second, save receipts from stores, libraries, and banks and use the back as shopping lists. Third, instead of printing out online receipts, save them as file on your computer. Fourth, use the back and the front of the paper. Fifth, use the cloth cleaning rags instead of paper towels. Sixth, use reusable dishes instead of paper plates. 7. Use as little toilet paper as possible. 8. Use scratch paper as solutions. And 9. Recycle any paper that can't be used further.
In addition to all this, let us start recycling paper now, because we are also saving our planet if we will use to recycle paper also. Not only paper, but also anything can be recycled, like bottles as well. In this, we are not spending much money, and also at the same time saving the environment. Don't forget, refuse to reuse. It's our earth you refuse. Reduce, reuse, recycle.
For example, this is a tree.
I'm a tree!
Let's say if you don't recycle paper, you'll be killing this tree. But if you recycle paper, you will be saving this tree.
I'm a tree again! Oh, I have to save paper! Oh, phew.
Instead of using up a lot of paper, just use one.
I can draw.
So you see, the world will definitely be a better place if we all recycle paper.
If symptoms persist, insult your doctor.